Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Tawanda, but my friends call me TuTu, and I love to create. So, okay, there's some important stuff that I forgot to tell you in the last video. When you have stretch fabric, sometimes it's only two-directional stretch and not four-way. So therefore, when it's like that, you have to make sure, especially when there are no like fastenings for the garment you're making, such as zippers, buttons, or snaps, that they have to be able to stretch it over their bodies, over their head and body, to put it on and off easily. So you can tell that way by stretching out the garment, so it'll stretch. Now this is a two-way, so it only stretches just a little bit in the in one direction, and the other direction stretches a lot. Okay, so that's what I forgot to tell you guys. Sorry about that. Now, all right, so to cut out the sleeve, remember I was, that I'm going to tell you guys about this arrow and what it's for, the straight of the grain of the fabric. So we're going to position it here onto the fabric, and we're going to take a stick pin and stick it in the top of the arrow. All right, so we're just going to do it like that. All right, and then next we're going to take a tape measure. Okay, so what you do is take your tape measure, and you're going to measure from the line on the arrow to either the folded or the selvage edge. So for me, the folded edge is the closest, so that's how we're going to measure. So it's measuring from the line to the folded edge at 7. So in the bottom half, the bottom area of the arrow, we need to make sure that it's the same length from the line to the folded edge. Okay, and it is. So when it is, it's very important that you pin that in place so it doesn't move. So this means that your fabric is straight. Now this is very important if you have fabric with nap, which is a one-way design on it. So fabrics such as suede and like velvet, they tend to have one way nap. So you have to just make sure that everything is lined up perfectly, or else at certain angles it will look like different colors. All right, so you see that I had to move this because the selvage edge that I had to fold it was too close to the edge, so I had to move it over some. So I have to just remeasure it again to make sure it's still straight. All right, so now it's about 6 3/4. Make sure. Okay, so I measure it now, and the bottom half is still 7. So I just need to scoot it over and make it 6 3/4 roughly, and we are set. So I'll just put a pin back in it. All right. So then now I'm going to pin this all down, and then we're going to cut it out. Oh, and then one special thing to note is that the fabric for that have like pleather or top coating like this, it shows pin marks. So you have to be very careful with how you're going to place the pins, or else your fabric is going to have holes, little holes in it from the pin mark that won't go away. Most of the time, like if it was a satin or another type of polyester or cotton, you can just use an iron to close it. But when it has like this top plastic like coating on it, you can't close it that way. It's just there permanently. And that goes for vinyl as well. Ow. All right. Okay. All right, so it's time to cut out. And again, I'm going to speed cut this out. Alright, so I have this cut out almost, and most important thing is that you put the sleeve that you mark, which is the front and which is the back. Okay, remember I mentioned the notches that you have that signify the front, 1 and then 2 for the back. So remember, I don't cut them in triangles, I just cut them, put like a little snip in between. Okay, all right, cutting this out. So the song that is playing is NCT 127, Irregular Regular. And I think this is the Korean version, but they do have an English version. That's pretty cool. And in the English version, they mention bank account. And I always laugh because after they mention bank account, they soon mention regular and irregular. So just let that sink in for you. Yes, sometimes I'm very corny. It's okay. That's what makes me memorable. Alright, so we have it cut out. We're going to put this aside, and then now we're going to cut out our piece of fabric for our heat and bond piece. And remember, the heat and bond piece is so we can make this design here, the diamond, and then the other like bigger diamond shapes there. Okay, so you notice here that when I drew it, and actually when I cut it out, I left space around, okay, because I like to make sure that the heat and bond has adhered to the fabric really good. So we're going to pick a section of this, and remember that for the diamond section, the shiny side is the right side of the fabric. So for right now, just for purposes of just measuring out, I'm just going to place it on here. Okay, and I'm just going to cut around it like so, and making sure I have enough room. All right, very good. So the rest of this, I can just put this aside because I'm going to use the rest of this to finish cutting out the other shiny heat and bond areas for the bottom and the sleeves and the back as well, which I still haven't designed yet. You will notice that with my tutorials, sometimes I don't have all the design figured out for the front, the back, or the sleeve. So for me, I kind of let it design itself as I'm designing it and putting it together. All right, so we have our piece cut out. So we're gonna get ready for placement, which is, remember, we're gonna put the heat and bond blue side onto the wrong side of the fabric. So then that way, when I cut them out, the right side, which is the shiny side, will be able to get ironed on after we peel it off. So it's a whole process, so I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so let's get the ironing board and the iron ready. Okay, so I got this ironing board, lovely tabletop ironing board from IKEA. It was like $6. Perfect thing for sewing. Actually, I use it every day to iron clothes. All right. So, got my iron. Let me plug it in. All right. Talking. All right. So we're going to set the iron temperature at roughly a polyester level. Alright, so before we iron this on, we need to get something like a cotton or tracing paper will work for me as well. So let's find that piece of tracing paper. No, wait, no, that's the back. Oh, here it is. So yeah, extra piece of tracing paper will have the same effect to protect the spandex fabric, which is known to melt. With against the heat of the iron. So I'm going to move this a little bit closer. All right, so we have it on here, making sure that the stretch is going widthwise. So we're going to place it down. Okay. Then we're going to take our tracing paper, or if you have, like I said, you can use clear, well, non-printed on copier paper, or like a piece of muslin or 100% cotton fabric, like a pillowcase, as a protective cloth. All right. So, when we iron this on, we need to make sure that there is no steam on it. It needs to be a dry iron with no steam. That's the best way to help adhere the heat and bond to your fabric. Alright, so you're going to move in circles around, making sure you're not staying in one spot too long. Now you might have to turn the iron up some because it may not be hot enough for the heat and bond to stick to the fabric, and it's not. So I'm gonna bring it up a notch to a blend and just let it chill for a minute and heat up. Yeah, okay, so it's ready. So all right, here we go. Now the key to keep it from melting is to constantly keep the iron moving and not just resting on one spot. And you need to make sure you have the protectant sheet over the entire piece, because I made that mistake and didn't, and ended up with burn marks actually on the piece. So I would have to recut the piece out. Alright. So, now you will notice here, it's a little crinkly. Probably from me ironing too much, too high of an iron. So I'm just going to put it like that. And then I'm going to flip it this way And I'm going to try to iron out the creases a little bit. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my ironing pad. This was like the best thing I bought. Alright, so, and you can probably make one of these for yourself because Joann carries the like reflective, I don't know what kind of material this is, thermal material, and it has spongy, and you can probably make it with let's see, yeah, the reflective material, or the thermal material I guess it's called, with a thin piece of foam and seam binding. Alright, so let's get back to this. See, it still hasn't stuck fully. So now I still have to iron it. Yeah. Alright, so be careful with your iron. And continue to iron it out. Okay. Yeah, so let's see. See, some of the edges are still not here properly. So those I'm gonna have to let the iron sit a little bit longer in that region and press down a little harder to make it adhere. Okay. Okay, so checking edges to make sure. Still gotta run the iron past it, especially in this region. I forgot to mention we should have did like a test piece of heat and bond and fabric to get our right temperature, but you know, sometimes I just go for it. Expect the best, hope for the best, and the best comes out. Alright, so I think now we're pretty good here. So I just like to move this around to make sure that the edges are definitely down. And they are. Okay, so now we can remove our lovely thermal ironing pad. I got this at Joann's as well, but this was like years ago. Like years ago. I don't think they even make these anymore. Who is this by? This is by a company called Whitney Designs, and their website is www.whitney-design.com. Maybe you should check it out and see if they still make them. Or if not, I told you you can make your own. I might do a tutorial on how to make your own thermal pad. Alright, so we're going to put everything aside. And then now, let's put the iron away so we won't burn ourselves. Okay, so we're going to start, see how it's stuck to it? We're going to start cutting out. Now, the reason why I have you cut out bigger than the lines that we need to draw, because you get better adhesive, I don't know, it adheres better when you're cutting if you have extra on the side. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Alright, so we're going to cut out. You got to go a little slow for this because we want to make sure this is precise. Alright. So for the next tutorial, or our next part, which I think is part 7, I believe. I'm going to go on how we're going to place this on the front that we cut out and what stitch to use. Alright, let me finish this and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.